Hello everyone, I all hope you had a very much of a wonderful day and a very much of a great morning indeed, guys. Well, as you can see, guys, the weather is completely cloudy. Today it's very much quietly as cloudy as it is. Regardless of that, guys, I'm superly grateful for you guys in viewing and watching my episodes from TikTok and as well from shorts and as well from long videos as well from YouTube, guys. Superly grateful for you guys. May God bless you and be with you in everything else you're quietly doing, and may you all have a blessed week and a great day indeed as well. On today's episode, we're to speak about a very powerful, sinister supervillain known as Warlord Sara, who is a high-ranking official of the Shadow Empire, and she was quietly trapped and quietly trapped and put in confinement in a cryogenic freeze hibernation stasis pod for over a decade and for over many centuries for her crimes against the sacred world and for the rest against the sacred universe. During which, in those times and those in the modern years of the sacred world, a group of ancient powerful supervillains exactly raided the Shadow Empire facility and managed to capture all the undocumented experiments that are quietly remanatory to hibernation, that are quietly remaining in hyper sleep, that are quietly actually remaining in hyper sleep in a cryogenetic freeze stasis pod, which they are rumored to be a supernatural and alien superhuman army of creatures and monsters and beings that were quietly being developed by the Shadow Empire warlord and commanders who exactly created these experiments for the original Lord of Magic. During which, at those time, the ancient group known as the Order of the Five raided the facility, managed to capture all the experiments, managed to take all the stasis pods of all the supernatural and alien and superhuman army of all the creatures and monsters, including Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick as well, which were also quietly shipped off to another different fortress or monastery that was quietly heavily guarded and protected by assassins, by powerful mercenaries and assassins of the Order of Darkness, which the Order of Darkness was quietly under the former leadership of Master Bond, who is a former member of the Founders and a former member of the Sacred Circle. After he resigned, the Order of Darkness fell to the undercurrent leadership of Silverface, who became the new member of the Founders and as well as the new leader of the Order of Darkness. During much of that time, Werewolf Boy and Fire Dragon exactly found the monastery that was quietly guarded by the assassins and managed to deliberately liberate all the captive experiments and all the captive soldiers and aliens and experiments along with them that are quietly trapped in hypersleep in the cryogenic freeze stasis pod for over the time. And they also found out about Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick, and Fire Dragon released them both from the stasis captivity imprisonment for all time. And that is when the chaos of the reign began. That is when the chaos of the reigning of ruling the Shadow Empire faction began as well. So we're here to exactly speak about Warlord Sara and her ruling and everything else, and also to exactly speak about how powerful and how greatly independent she is. And despite that, she's a very merciless, powerful warlord and a very evil, devious, very formidable assassin, and a very formidable obstacle and an adversary to the Intergalactic Coalition and to the resistance fighters of the Shadow Empire Warlord, led by Shadow Boy, and against the Universal Heroes and against the Four Nation Hunters as well. So let's get to it. Over the following centuries and years, when the Shadow Empire was under the current leadership of the original Lord of Magic, the original Lord of Magic exactly dispatched Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick to begin conquering thousands of known worlds across the fringes of the sacred universe, which is where they began their full assignment and their full purpose. Warlord Sara and Dick began engineering a very crafted plan and a very smart tactician and strategist, and very smart and brilliant strategy to conquering all the known worlds of the sacred universe in one fell swoop, which they managed to successfully able to do that. According to them, they possess a huge fleet of battle cruisers, highly advanced battle cruisers at their disposal, and they use an army and a swarm of fleet. They use a swarm of fleet of battle cruisers to begin conquering thousands of worlds and planets in one fell swoop. The Four Nation Hunters exactly intervened within the following centuries, fighting the war against Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick. Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick exactly became very impatient and very mysteriously pissed and very not quietly happy to see that the Four Nation Hunters are gratefully interfering with their plans and with their goals, and they decided to permanently exterminate them and to permanently trying to eradicate them in a process. During in those process, they fought against the Four Nation Hunters in those worlds and in those planets for a century and another century. The battle and the war continued to rage on over and over until the Four Nation Hunters remained victorious in the end, which they were able to capture one of the biggest and powerful high-ranking factions of the Shadow Empire, Warlord, who are mostly rumored to be the most powerful and deadliest of them all, of all the other Shadow Empire warlords, which was a huge victory and a win for the Four Nation Hunters, which they were able to apprehend Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick. Both of the other Four Nation Hunter representative and council members and the other leaders and elders exactly came to the decision that these two Shadow Empire warlords will pose a greater threat and would actually create chaos and destruction upon their wake if they are ever again released from their confinement. They must be put in cryogenetic free stasis pod in order for them to remain there for their crimes against the sacred universe and against the sacred world, which the councilors exactly able to agree with that as well, and so did the Four Nation Hunters. They found an abandoned powerful operating system of the Shadow Empire facility and decided to trap the powerful immortal Shadow Empire warlords in their own imprisonment of the confinement of the Shadow Empire facility, which they were successfully able to do so. Warlord Sara remained in a cryogenetic free stasis pod alongside with Warlord Dick, who was also a partner to him, a very dear partner and very grateful, dedicated partner, as the both of them felt dedicated to each other and to their cause and to their sole purpose as well. They remained in confinement for many years and for many centuries until the day they were completely released and liberated from their sole imprisonment of remaining in deep hibernation sleep in the cryogenetic freeze stasis pod for the following years to come. As the years passed and as the centuries passed during out the Sacred World's wars and battles and confinement, Warlord Sara remained in confinement and remained in imprisonment for all eternity and for all time, with the rest of all the other undocumented powerful super soldiers and greater experiments and ancient beings and creatures who are also held to be developed to be a natural, supernatural, superhuman alien army that will be used once more again to launch a full-scaling invasion or a greater attack on the sacred world or humanity when the day would ever come as well. On the 15th of May, the members of the Order of the Five staged a huge raid on the Shadow Empire facility, able to capture and take all the undocumented experiments, including the ones that are quietly kept in cryogenetic free stasis pod. That includes Warlord Sara and also Warlord Dick, as well as the members of the Order of the Five and the other ancient secret society groups also staged the raid on the other facilities on the Shadow Empire warlord. The other members of the Order of the Five came to believe that these supernatural beings and the ancient powerful sacred founders known as the Omega founders might be very useful, but they exactly need them to be alive in order for them to carry out their most powerful ultimate goal and plans in order to control the sacred world and the sacred universe and humanity in the process, which could benefit them mostly indefinitely. While the other members of the founders staged a raid on the other facility, Master Born exactly came to believe that Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick would mostly likely prove a very as a valuable asset and as a valuable weapon for their sole plans and for their sole control, as he believed that they will soon exactly be very much be posable, as they'll actually believe that they will be very much useful for their plans and for their goals as well. On the 20th of June, when Werewolf Boy and Fire Dragon exactly raided the monastery fortress that was heavily guarded by assassins and mercenaries, which they were able to defeat in one fell swoop, Fire Dragon exactly discovered the powerful immortal Shadow Empire warlords and commanders known as Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick, and she discovered that she was actually meant to release these two powerful immortal threats that have remained in confinement for all eternity and for all centuries. And she decided to exactly unlock the stasis cryogenic freeze pods, and she completely exactly disappeared after that. Warlord Sara completely awakened from her imprisonment, and she began to exactly ask herself what has been happening for all this time and what has been going on throughout the sacred world and throughout the rest of the sacred universe, especially towards the wars of the Shadow Empire as well. And Warlord Dick also began to ask himself, since they've been remaining in confinement and been trapped in a cryogenetic freeze stasis pod for all eternity, discovered that more rather less than that, Warlord Sara was very quietly satisfied that remaining in that deep hibernation sleep exactly preserved their youth and preserve their beauty and their immortality and their powers and their skill set, able to increase their long gravity and their powers and their abilities in the actual effect, which extended their lifespan for the long due process. Warlord Sara was very quietly impressed that these pods do exactly serve a very crucial purpose and a very crucial role for them to actually remaining in deep sleep, able to exactly grant them more power and extremely more immortality and powers to psychically, regeneratively heal themselves in a remarkable faster way than humans exactly heal more or less longer than ever before. According to them, the human DNA, the human body heals less longer, but according to their own DNA and body, their bodies exactly slightly heal even faster and more very quietly, quicker than ever, due to the process and the powers and the gifted abilities of the pod that were granted to them in order for them to remaining in a stasis hibernation pod for all eternity and for all centuries. Regardless of the last, Warlord Dick exactly told Warlord Sara that they must fulfill their mission and their purpose. But Warlord Sara began to ask herself what exactly has been going on for the past few millennia and centuries, since they were literally out cold for the many centuries and for the many years. Warlord Dick exactly told Warlord Sara the only for them to exactly find out what exactly has been going on towards the sacred world and towards the sacred universe is for them to leave planet Earth and to go directly to the sacred universe and directly to the sacred world, for them to reclaim what is rightfully theirs and to get the answers what they are so eagerly to crave for by any means necessary. On the 21 of July, Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick exactly convene with the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders on another ancient sacred land of the Shadow Empire warlords, on another ancient sacred land where the Shadow Empire has managed to conquer thousands of dark worlds and planets and managed to put them under their sole control due to the original leadership of the original Lord of Magic, who managed to enslave thousands of known worlds across the fringes of the known universe and across the fringes of the known universe and also on the fringes of the sacred universe. He managed to do that in one fell swoop. Due to him able to do that, he managed to successively able to do that by granting the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders another sacred world, another powerful sacred dark world, and also another sacred land of a dark world and a home world for the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders, for them to successfully meet and convene and discuss their preparations and the next step for deciding who will be next in line to lead up the Shadow Empire. Regardless of the last, the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders informed Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick that the original Lord of Magic has died many years ago and that he is no longer with them anymore. Warlord Sara was very quietly shocked and surprised that the great master is dead, and she asked the question. She asked the other Shadow Empire warlord, how did he mysteriously die out so quickly when he was so invincible and so immortal? The other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders told Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick that the death of the original Lord Magic happened by the prophesied child mentioned by the fates and mentioned by the ancient prophecy known as the new universal man, who would exactly brought the demise of the original Lord of Magic. But due to the death of the original Lord of Magic, the Shadow Empire fell into chaos, into further chaos, into further damnation, and into further chaos, into further damnation, and as well into further turmoil. Regardless of him being dead, there was a new Lord of Magic who quietly exactly rose to the occasion and also managed to exactly ascend from power with his new ancient secret society. And as well, there was another new little magic who began actually ascending from power and also ascending from the shadows of the sacred world, taking over the other factions of the Shadow Empire, forming and reassembling his ancient group and his ancient shadowy organization that has existed many centuries ago in order for it to complete its sole purpose and its sole mission. Warlord Dig and Warlord Sara told the other Shadow Empire warlords that they will not exactly be serving any other new Lord of Magic or the new Lord of Magic or the other proteges or the other successors of the previous Lord of Magic who exactly died and who decided to carry out his legacy or goal. That they have no intention of serving the new all-powerful immortal Lord of Magic or any of the other new Lord of Magics who are exactly ascending in power, when they'll be the ones being when they'll be the ones actually becoming the leaders of the Shadow Empire. Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick exactly offered the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders to join their faction or to face their worth. The other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders exactly decided to fight them on a duel in order to see which one of them will submit to them, rather than to have them submit to them. Warlord Sara exactly took out her dagger and exactly began fighting up against the Shadow Empire warlord, as Warlord Dick exactly did the same, and they completely defeated them countlessly and exactly told them would they actually bow down to them or would they either face their worth or their reckoning. The other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders there were not exactly many of them, or rather too many of them, while the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders, as I previously said to you guys, on February the 15th of February, there was another power vacuum that happened on that year, which the disappearance of the Universal Heroes created another power vacuum, and the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders decided to form their own faction, as I previously said to you guys. So there were not exactly too many Shadow Empire warlords and commanders who all convened during in that ancient line, as I previously said to you guys before. The others have formed their own faction. The others have sworn their allegiance and their loyalty to the ancient secret society groups of supervillains, while the others remain leaders of their own faction and of their own empire, while the others pledge allegiances and loyalty to Red Bolt and to his ancient organization known as the Dark Order, while the others submitted to the Star Prince and to the Dark Star. You see, they all quietly splintered up into factions, while the others pledged their loyalty into others. Others formed up their own factions. The others, they all exactly decided to form up their own factions. Others decided to submit. Others decided to remain allies and associates of other powerful, formidable supervillains, and others joined forces with the Universal Heroes, with Shadow Boy's resistance of the Shadow Empire warlords, and with the others joined forces with the Intergalactic Coalition. So, as you can see, the forces of evil within the Shadow Empire are completely divided and into turmoil, and it's been shown to have been splintered, as in literally splintered into many thousands of many divided several factions. Others have pledged their own loyalty to themselves, and the others to the new Lord of Magic, and the others to Lord Clay. So, as you can see, the Shadow Empire is literally splintered. The remaining Shadow Empire warlords who were actually convening on the 21 of July with Warlord Dick and Warlord Sara actually pledged their allegiance and their loyalty to them, but there were not as many as they were. There were less of them. There were few less of them, and the fleets of their battle cruisers were on the atmosphere, on the world and planet. Regardless of the last, Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick were very quietly pleased and very successful, happy that they managed to gather half a quarter of the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders to show their allegiance and their loyalty to them. But despite of that, they were not exactly discouraged of any of that, as they told them that their fleets and everything else of them now belongs to them, meaning the rest of their fleets and the rest of their armada is now theirs, and they managed to absorb it, and also extract it and gain it from it, and by combining it and by merging it with their own fleets of battle cruisers and an army of battle cruisers and battleships and airship fleet that are under their sole control as well. On the 29th of August, Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick remain at their new central headquarters of the Shadow Empire homeland in the planet, where the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders exactly told them that the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders are still waging war against each other and are still previously exactly fighting up against each other, still waging war up against each other in order for them to conquer many worlds and many planets. Warlord Sara decided that it's best that she intervenes and steps in order to persuade the others to join forces with them, when she can easily offer them something that is beyond what the others can easily exactly offer them. They can never purposely exactly refuse on themselves. On the 20th of September, Warlord Sara exactly began to reconvene with the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders on another powerful sacred world and dark planet that is quietly on the edges of the sacred magic universe, where the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders exactly began to convene. Regardless of the less, the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders exactly told Warlord Sara that they will never be pledging their allegiances and their loyalty directly to Warlord Sara and to Warlord Dick. Regardless of the other less, Warlord Sara exactly demonstrated her power and her worth and a greater agility of her true leadership and her true dedication to the Shadow Empire by destroying and decimating the fleet of the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders, while the others had no choice but to rather to submissively submit to her, and the others decided to walk away right away completely while the others submitted to her. Warlord Sara was very quietly pleased and very, very successfully happy that the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders exactly pledged their allegiance and their loyalty to her, meaning in other words, her army, her full army and her mother is growing in size, and it's literally growing in full size in spades. And she was very, very impressed with her confidence of herself and to herself as well. On the 19th of October, Warlord Sara was quietly sitting at the throne room all by herself, while Warlord Dick exactly head towards the other known worlds to begin his full conquest and campaigning on conquering many thousands of worlds and planets, while the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders exactly decided to summon holograms of themselves in order to exactly speak up with Warlord Sara as well. Warlord Sara exactly told the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders that she's very completely happy with their loyalty and with their devotion towards her, regardless of the less of them trying to turning against each other, as she offered them a powerful proposition on that day that she exactly told them that she will provide them with more power and with more destructive technology than ever before. Despite this, the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders exactly showed true loyalty and true devotion to Warlord Sara, as they exactly believed in her leadership and in her becoming the rightful monarchy as well. Regardless of the lesser Shadow Empire, warlords and commanders in their hologram state exactly told Warlord Sara that their loyalty is to her and only to her as well. Between November and December, Warlord Sara's faction and empire grew a huge fleet of battle cruisers, an entire army, an entire wave and army of battle cruisers at her disposal, where she was able to completely decimating and conquering thousands of worlds and planets and systems and star systems across the sacred universe, where she grew more powerful and more deadly than ever before. On the actual 24th on the 24th of January, Warlord Sara was able to exactly meet up with Warlord Dick in one of the secret laboratories of the throne room, where the both of them exactly agreed that their factions have completely exactly grown in full power and in full mode, that now it's time for them to begin their full-scale attack. Warlord Sara exactly told Warlord Dick right now might not be the best time in order for them to exactly begin a full-scale attack and invasion on the other world, since they've already done that between November and December, which they were able to grow their fleet and armada, and in which they were able to grow their fleet and armada in 2 months, in less than 2 months, which means in other words, the army has proven to be highly valuable. But decide that Warlord Sara exactly told Warlord Dick that it's best for them in order to weigh their options before they can begin their full-scaling invasion against the Intergalactic Coalition and against the United Heroes, which will actually pose a greater threat to their soul plans and to their other greater goals. Warlord Dick exactly told Warlord Sara that the only threat that they should never be bothered about is the new Lord of Magic and the Star Prince and Red Bolt and the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders and the founders, and as well as Lord Clay, who has become the new Lord of Magic, who also pose a greater obstacle to their goals and also to their plans, which means in other words, they need to watch out for those obstacles, which will also pose a greater magnificent threatening to their future plans and to their long-term plans in the process. Warlord Sara completely agreed with Warlord Dick that they should exactly watch out for those powerful threats and those powerful competitors who also pose a threat. But despite that, Warlord Sara exactly told Warlord Dick that it's time for her to actually make a new partnership with the dark magic users who also as well have also gone astray by not forming alliances with other powerful dark witches known as the other powerful dark priestesses such as Witchcaster, Amber, the goddess of power, or known by another name, the Witch of Power, or the Dark Sisters, or the Mind Sisters, that the Dark Druids and Dark Witches and Dark Faithful, who are also splintered into different factions, have also decided to carry out in their own way, which means, in other words, there could be another way to persuade them to join forces with them, and to let them join forces with her. Warlord Dick exactly advised Warlord Sara to not underestimate those powerful dark immortal magic users. They are extremely powerful and extremely dangerous magical dark beings who can never be underestimated. Warlord Sara exactly told Warlord Dick there's a reason why Amber and the previous original Little Magic recruited these powerful dark magic users. It's because that they hold the secrets of immortality and the secrets of dark magic and the forbidden secrets of dark magic and its powers and its full capacity. That is why I need them to be. I need them. That is why she's telling Warlord Dick that she precisely needs them at her side at all costs, because she could benefit greatly with their empire being in power, and it could become the next dominant powerful faction against the Shadow Empire that's currently under the current leadership of Red Bolt, which could overthrow him from his throne room within the Shadow Empire that he's quietly leading and taking charge of it right now at this stage. Warlord Dick exactly agreed that he'll accompany Warlord Sara in order to make sure that the transgression and the partnership between the dark magic users remain stable and remains the same as well. On the 20th of March, Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick exactly journeyed into the ancient dark crystal ruins of the dark worlds and planets of the temple, where they found the dark druids and the dark witches and the dark faithful exactly activating a powerful dark crystal, and before they can easily attack them, the dark magic users mysteriously bowed down to Warlord Sara and to Warlord Dick and exactly told them that they've been waiting for a powerful legendary monarch who can exactly lead them. Despite Warlord Dick and Warlord Sara being heavily skeptical of the dark magic users bowing down to them, Warlord Sara asked them exactly why would they be bowing down to them. The dark druid exactly stood up to speak up for the other magic users and exactly told the both powerful legendary Shadow Empire warlords is because they know the history and the relationship they had with the original Lola Magic. That is why they actually decided to bow down to the two of you, because they realized that the two of them were also subordinates and were also very loyal followers and subordinate to the original master, and they only wanted to serve him and to serve his will and his full dynasty and goal by any means necessary. Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick exactly told the dark magic users, now that they managed to exactly realize their place in the cosmic force of balance and in the universe, it's time for the dark magic users to serve them once again, because they're definitely in desperate need of their services and of their expertise in dark magic and in science, which Warlord Sara completely agreed with Warlord Dick, which both of them were very pleased of their loyal devotion to the legendary Shadow Empire warlords and commandos who did what the others have failed to do in the past few centuries and decades. As the Dark Witch and the Dark Faithful exactly told Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick that the original Lord of Magic told them about the two of you, who became his greatest accomplishment, and his greatest prodigies and his greatest creation and his greatest successor in his long-term plans and goals to conquering and enslaving thousands of worlds, which is why he was able to inform us about the two of you before he actually sadly passed away in an unfortunate demise that was quietly predicted and foreseen by the ancient fates of the universe as well. Regardless of the less, Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick exactly told the dark magic users that they too exactly share the same condolences of their former master and lord, but they were able to continue his goal and mission in a different perspectivity of a different way, which they have a different mind in order to actually do it. But they can't actually complete the goal and the task at hand that had been given by their master without their expertise. The dark magic users completely agreed that they will actually supply them the expertise and the knowledge that they're so seeking, as they all came to an agreement that they'll each help each other and benefit from each other's helping and assistance as well. From here on out, they remained it as associates. On the On the 29th of April, the dark magic users exactly showed Warlord Sara and Warlord Dig a very powerful ancient dark crystal from a very, very powerful magical world and planet within the sacred magic universe, where they were able to tell them that there was a powerful supernatural army of monsters and trolls and creatures that were quietly resting within these crystals. Warlord Sara exactly told the dark magic users, do not awaken these creatures and army yet, when they could be very much useful for her goals and plans that are about to come. As Warlord Dick completely agreed with Warlord Sara that they need these armies and these creatures for a full scaling attack and a full scaling invasion on the final confrontation of the Sacred Galactic War, which could hold the key to the sole one ruler of the cosmos. And that will depend on who is in power and who's in control of everything. Meaning the fight between good and evil, evil and evil, waging war against each other, might be the final stroke that they need in order for them to determine who is worthy to become the sole ruler of the universe. They only told the dark magic users to make sure that the supernatural and powerful magical army to remain in the crystal genetic freeze, in the crystal genetic freeze imprisonment of themselves, to remain there, and also to try to preserve these creatures and beings and monsters while they can, because they'll be used for something worthy when the time comes. On the 29th of May, Warlord Sara exactly remained through her throne room, sat on the throne room throughout the rest of May, and wasn't exactly able to get more intelligence or more information on what's exactly happening, while Warlord Dick began the crusade to conquering more worlds and more planets, as she was able to remain in the throne room until nothing exactly able to came or ever been heard from. On the 19th of June, Warlord Sara exactly was able to convene with a powerful ancient holographic dark figure who couldn't exactly say his name or anything else. The dark holographic figure exactly provided Warlord Sara with more endless knowledge and endless intelligence and information on what's coming. Despite that, Warlord Sara told the dark holographic figure that she's very pleased for the information and successfully very grateful for it, as she told the dark holographic figure that what else could she exactly provide this mysterious anonymous tip-off. The dark holographic figure told Warlord Sara that he doesn't need anything or require anything. All that matters is that the cosmic balance of power must be maintained. After that, the dark holographic figure disappeared and was never again seen again. Warlord Sara kind of actually got a very powerful tip-off when the dark holographic figure mentioned to maintaining the cosmic balance of power, which means, in other words, that he didn't exactly say it out of spite, as she quietly remembered something the previous original Lola Magic exactly said to her many centuries ago as well. On the 20th of August, Warlord Sara met up with Warlord Dick and the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders within one of the crystal chambers, creating a powerful holographic map of all the worlds and planets that have been conquered. As Warlord Sara told Warlord Dick about the dark, mysterious holographic figure who told her something ominous or something very strange about maintaining the cosmic balance of power. And Warlord Dick exactly asked Warlord Sara, did the actual holographic stranger Norman's figure actually said that out of spite, or did he actually say that out of a tip-off in order to grant you literally provocation, or rather something, in order to actually inform you of something? Warlord Sara remembered something that the previous original Norman Magic actually said to her before he actually sent her to complete her task and her mission on that very, very ancient century in that time, about maintaining the cosmic balance of power. As Warlord Sara was able to become more skeptical on what the dark holographic figure meant by that, she tried in order to ask the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders, have there been any other ancient powerful groups of ancient secret shadowy organizations of societies that have been formed in the last many centuries or in ancient times? The other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders told Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick that the Order of the Five and the Order of the Six and the Founders and the Sacred Circle, the Galactic, the Unholy Alliance, some of these ancient organizations are ancient, the others are just modern, the others are just modern ancient, the others are just modern societies right now recently that are fighting up against the universal heroes, while the others are just more powerful, more dangerous. They possess more power, more greater resources, and more influence towards the sacred world's towards the sacred world's criminal underworld and everything else towards through it all. And they possess greater powerful influences and connections towards humanity and towards planet Earth and towards the rest of sacred existence. Regardless of the last, Warlord Sara became very, very skeptical and very, very optimistic about the dark holographic, mysterious, anonymous tip-off who exactly gave her the information, regardless of what he exactly said, and decided to research more about what he actually meant by that, rather than to not exactly and pursue it, regardless of that. On the 15th of September, Warlord Sara exactly mysteriously meditated by using a powerful dark ancient crystal within her dark ancient sacred shrine and room on that time, in order to focus her power and her abilities, in order to try to learn what the dark mysterious holographic magic, what the dark mysterious holographic person exactly disguising and considering his identity to her exactly said, and what he actually meant by that. Despite that, she exactly returned on the throne room on that day and exactly told the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders to continue their conquest and their global campaigning and conquering many worlds and many planets and many civilizations across the sacred universe and across the sacred world, while she does her own research as well. On the 20th of October, Warlord Sara was able to exactly meet up with the dark magic users on another top secret base, which was quietly on another ancient world within the dark crystal temples, where the dark druids and dark witches and dark faithful told her that the ancient secret society that you're searching for is known as the Order of the Four, which is more ancient and more powerful and more deadly and more shadowy and elite criminal organization that has more powerful, dangerous, elite criminals, super ancient criminals, and very powerful dark magic users all working together, sharing a very powerful common goal and a common interest to maintaining the cosmic balance of power. What that dark holographic figure, what the dark holographic figure exactly said to you was actually meant to be on purpose, in order for you to know that they actually exist and they're still actively alive, pursuing that goal and are still pursuing that mission and that philosophy that they were sworn to actually do. And that the other reason who actually banished the fallen many years ago during in ancient times by actually sending him to the dark pocket imprisonment, dark dimension for all eternity, for him to pay for his crimes against the sacred world by trying to exterminate and eradicate the supernaturals and the aliens and the superhumans and the Phoenician hunters in the process. Now Warlord Sara begins to understand the full scope of this powerful, ancient, shadowy criminal organization's true mission and goal. Regardless of the last, Warlord Sara exactly told the dark magic users, thank you for the information and for the intelligence. Now she can focus her true goal and mission as well. On the 29th of November, Warlord Sara was able to reconvene with the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders on the central headquarters of her throne room, within her home dark world, which is actually her central headquarters of her throne room and world and faction and power of her new Shadow Empire that's under her control. Regardless of the less, she told the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders to exactly beginning their mission and to further their goals and purpose, that conquering other worlds and planets still has to continue the way it needs to, and that the purpose of that must continue in order for them to have more power and more control of the other worlds. The other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders exactly told Warlord Sara that the intergalactic coalition of the Phoenician hunters will pose a greater significant threat to your long-term plans and to your goals as well in a process if they're not completely stopped. Warlord Sara exactly reassured the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders that she will not be underestimated by the United Heroes or by the Intergalactic Coalition, and that she has a very powerful master plan for them that she's been planning for months and for years and for centuries, especially for the Intergalactic Coalition, a plan that might medicinally eradicate them all completely. One that might benefit the new Lord of Magic and the Universal Prince and Red Bolt and the Star Prince and the members of the Order of the Five and the members of the Founders, which they will remain the sole rulers, and she'll remain the most powerful ruler as well. They will currently completely be assured of that as well. On the 20th of December, Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick exactly were summoned by a very different mysterious formation hunter known as Luke Ghost from the ancient crystal cave, which the location of the ancient crystal cave was from a different planet in a different world, which was quietly from a different world and a different planet that was quietly within the sacred universe itself as well. As Luke Ghost exactly wanted to show Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick something very extraordinary and very astonishing and new, remarkable discovery that he was able to make from himself, as he showed them the most powerful ancient powerful beings of all, most powerful ancient beings of all, known as the Omega sacred founders of the sacred world, who existed during the different era and the different ancient times of the sacred world's history. These ancient founders were rumored to have created and formed their own ancient secret society, as Luke Ghost explained to Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick, that these ancient founders have found a way to preserve their life and their immortality by remaining in cryogenetic freeze pod, and that the other reason for the world's vampires, supernaturals, warlocks, witches, and druids, and for the others of their kind, such as fairy witches and formation hunters, and all the other aspects of their kind and beings and creatures, to have actually able to evolve their powers and their abilities and their greater powers in harnessing their powers and their abilities for all time, because their direct bloodline and the direct bloodline of their greatest descendant was actually originated and brought up to them. Regardless of that, Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick were very impressed that these ancient, powerful, godlike monks and beings still actively live, and that their existence was shouted throughout sacred history for many centuries. And that Warlord Sara asked Luke Ghost, the mysterious formation hunter, how many of these Omega sacred founders, ancient sacred founders, are still out there. Luke Ghost exactly told Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick that there are thousands of them that have been preserved throughout the stasis cryogenic freeze pod, and that the genetic cryo freeze pod, that the genetic cryo freeze stasis pods are scattered across many known regions of the universe and are quietly still hidden. The few of their kind, of their species, know of their existence, are still able to know about their existence. But regardless of that, their ancient sacred society is more ancient and more mysterious, in that each of these sacred founders are the children of destiny and are the children of prophecy, that each of them have the power to change the world, and that they've managed to find a way to preserve themselves in order for them to return to begin and fulfilling their sole purpose and their sole mission and their true obligation that they were meant to do many years ago and many millennia ago, during the ancient times of the sacred worlds during the ancient times of the sacred wars, galactic wars, and conflict that have been happening for the following years. Despite that, Warlord Sara exactly told Luke Ghost to keep these ancient beings a top secret for the time being, with the sacred world still in fire and still waging war. Powerful forces of evil can afford these ancient beings to be wreaking havoc, to disrupting their plans. Right now, let their existence remain a secret only to them and only to them only. The time will come for them to actually return. But if there are more of them out there, and there are thousands of them out there who manage to find a way to preserve their life force in order for them to return at the right proper moment for them to actually begin fulfilling their mission, then it apparently that the fates of the universe have managed to have different values and have different instincts to end this poverty wars and all these chaotic wars once and for all. Meaning, by allowing these godlike monks and beings to return was, after all, the set of destiny. But despite that, Warlord Sara was remarkably pleased with this ancient discovery, and told Luke Ghost to find out if there are more of their kind, more of the ancestors of the kind, of the original founders of the species, who are still actively remaining and to be preserved in cryogenic freeze pods like this as well. If there are more of them, or if there are 10,000s of them, then it will be best that they actually protect them and guard them. And if the universal heroes or the united heroes know about their existence, then it looks like that the chances of them being on even match and on even sides of the conflict will benefit them in different way. Warlord Dick exactly told Luke Ghost that to do exactly the same as what Warlord Sara exactly advised him to do. Luke Ghost exactly reassured his two associates that he'll keep the secrets of the Omega sacred founders, but they won't be released from their self-imprisonment, not now, not yet, because they have their own plans and their long-term plans and their goals that they have to also achieve of their own. Because once these ancient beings are released from their self-imprisonment, they will create chaos and more further havoc in disrupting the plans of the goals that they already set. So that the two of them officially agreed that they'll keep the secret of these ancient beings, and if the other ancient secret societies know about their existence, then it's fine. They'll be able to even up the match in releasing all these ancient beings and these creatures, and also allowing them to reassemble and reforming the ancient secret society that they managed to also form many years ago during the ancient times, which will soon benefit them as well. On the 19th of February, Warlord Dick and Warlord Sara exactly spoke into the ancient crystal chambers about what they discovered, and they decided it's best that they could use these ancient godlike beings in order to drain their blood and literally transfuse it inside themselves. That can also make them more powerful and more immortal in the actual effect. Warlord Sara completely agreed with Warlord Dick, but they can't exactly awaken them now. It's too soon for them to actually return. Very too soon. And yet, still too soon. The Shadow Empire is still in chaos, and the forces of evil are at war against each other, and the forces of good are still waging war with the forces of evil. The sacred universe is in chaos and in further destruction, and the monsters of the dark dimension are still willing to eradicate the Four-Nation Hunters. Right now, it's too much. There's too much chaos, and all they have to do is find a way to benefit from that chaos by ruling from it. And their sole goal and purpose is to conquer more endless worlds and more endless planets, and to also exterminate and eradicate the supernatural and the superhumans and the aliens and the Four-Nation Hunters and the universal heroes. That is a sole goal and purpose as well. Warlord Dick and Warlord Sara completely agreed with that. Then that is exactly what they'll do. Complete what they started many centuries ago. On the 29th of March, Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick completely reconvened with the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders on another different ancient crystal temple, and told them it's time for them to begin a full-scaling attack and invasion on the other worlds. And this time, it's time for them to begin conquering more worlds and more civilization by placing them under their sole control, and by making sure the sacred universe knows that Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick have permanently returned. And this time, their return is meant to create chaos and destruction, and that they will soon control the Shadow Empire by force or by any means necessary. The Shadow Empire warlords and commanders completely bowed down to Warlord Dick and Warlord Sara, as they exactly told them they're ready to proceed on the plan. And they asked the new masters and partners what's the first stage of the plan. Warlord Dick exactly told them it's time for it to proceed the way it's meant to, meaning laying waste to the intergalactic coalition and to the Four-Nation Hunters once and for all. Regardless of this, guys, Warlord Sara is very skilled in espionage and also in tactician and also in strategist. Despite her remaining in the cryogenic freeze pod, despite her remaining in a cryogenic freeze pod in a self-imprisonment pod for all centuries and for all eternity, it has even provided her with more immortality and more power, preserved her beauty and preserved her skill set and her long gravity. Due to her long gravity, she believes that her and Warlord Dick and Warlord Sara are destined to remain the sole rulers of the cosmos. They even exactly seem associated with powerful dark magic users such as the Dark Druids, the Dark Witches, and the Dark Faithful, in order for them to utilize their expertise and their talents of dark magic and science to creating powerful destructive weapons and technology, in order to make sure that the faction remains the strongest and the most powerful, formidable of all. One of the most powerful and the most formidable of all the other factions of the Shadow Empire, warlords and commanders. Regardless of this, Warlord Sara is very ambitious, very devoted to her cause, obligated to her mission and to her purpose and to her destiny, and she believes she will fulfill it regardless, no matter what challenges she was willing to face. And despite that, she will fulfill it, and she will go head to toe to conquer the sacred universe and the sacred world to the ends of it, no matter what exactly happens to her. And despite this, she's very loyal and solely obligated, devoted to the original Lord of Magic, as she viewed him as a master and as a father figure, and she gratefully respected him before her self-imprisonment. Before she was quietly sentenced to her self-imprisonment, she quietly revered the original Lord of Magic and quietly respected him for who and what he was truly is, regardless what the others said, that he was a powerful dark master, a power-hungry villain. To her exactly, he was regarded as a powerful savior and a dark legendary figure savior who was destined to conquer and rule the sacred universe. And the original Lord of Magic exactly viewed Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick as children in a successful creation to his goal and to his ultimate goal and plans as well for universal domination as well in the process. Regardless of this, and due to her ambition, Warlord Sara has conquered thousands of worlds and planets. Despite this, to the Shadow Empire, to the other Shadow Empire warlords and commanders, Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick are revered to be one of the most formidable Shadow Empire warlords and commanders ever known for their legendary accomplishments and work for conquering many 10,000s of star systems, worlds and planets, and many worlds and planets and known worlds across the fringes of the sacred universe. Due to this, they have gained the utmost respect and the most powerful loyalty of the original Lord of Magic, who revered to them as legendary figures of the Shadow Empire's legacy and long-term plans and goals as well. Warlord Sara is a remarkable, treacherous, evil, but very smart tactician and super strategist, very wise and very patient with her plans and very skeptical and very ambitious and very optimistic and very idealistic. Managed to create many simulations and managed to calculate her plans and her strategies before she can actually implement them. The reason her faction has survived under her current leadership is because of her intelligence, is because of her greater intelligence, and it's because of her quick thinking, and because of her greater might in leading the Shadow Empire warlords and commanders. She is regarded to be feared and to be known not to be messed with, and known not to be messed with, and known not to be messed with, and not to be underestimated due to her skills in hand-to-hand combat, swordsmanship, tactician, strategist, enhance agility and endurance, and long gravity, and extremely powerful immortality as well, and extremely gifted with a greater ability and greater power known as immortality as well, and is also greater with her powers of super limping, super strength, and super speed, and also with the ability and power granted by her to commanding a huge fleet of battle cruisers, an airship fleet under her command. She is partnered up with her soul partner known as Warlord Dick. Together and them, they remain in love together as they solely in love in one another, and they solely devoted in one another as they believe in each other and completely conquered thousands of factions of the Shadow Empire warlord and managed to place them under their sole control. The both of them actually maintains the usual basis of operation as well as a central headquarters, which is one of a powerful dark world and planet, which has the throne room in the middle of the dark world, and everything else where it houses the huge fleet of battle cruisers and airship fleet under their sole control. Due to their greatest experience and to their expertise, they have conquered thousands of worlds and planets and known civilization across the sacred universe and across the sacred world. The Four Nation Hunters know very well that Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick can never be underestimated or ever again taken lightly. Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick learned the hard way that the universal hero's abilities in building the operation and the successful plans in the process can never be able to be taken lightly. Due to this, she learns from her previous failures and she learns to never repeat her same mistakes. As she learns of powerful new foes and powerful new competitors, she learns to never again underestimate her enemy, never again to underestimate her enemy's intelligence, and as well especially as their intellect as well in the process. She's very devious, very manipulative, very deceptive, and very smart and intelligent, very strictly organized in manipulating events and wars and battles in the process to further her ultimate goals and plans. And she learns so much about sacred histories, wars, and battles, and up against its original founders and leaders and godlike creatures and beings who have ever lived before, known as the Omega Sacred Founders, and as the original sacred founder of the sacred world and of the Dark Sisters and of the new Lord of Magic, which she learns about her enemies' histories and about where they come from and about their true origins. And she decided to keep the information to herself and to Warlord Dick and to the rest of their trusted allies, and to the rest of their trusted forces as well. Regardless of the less She rules her faction and her empire with an iron fist. The Shadow Empire warlords and commanders know very well to fear Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick. They are very fearless, devoted, very smart and intelligent. The both of them together have become a powerful duo that can never be underestimated. They are very powerful, very stronger, and very wiser, not meant to be taken lightly. According to the Four Nation Hunters, Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick are very extremely remarkable Shadow Empire warlords and commanders against the others, and compared to the others, they are the most extremely dangerous and deadliest one of them all. They can never be taken lightly or ever again be underestimated. Warlord Sara even forms a powerful secretive alliances with other shadowy organizations such as they've been able to partner up with Luke Ghost, who is the leader of these unknown shadowy organization, who is also a powerful, mysterious Foundation hunter. They decided to utilize his resources, and together Luke Ghost also utilizes the resources of Warlord Sara and Warlord Dick in the process in order for them to actually further their own goals and their ultimate plans in the process. Due to them being immortal and due to them being able to be granted long immortality, due to them being granted long lifespan, they are very smart and super cautious and very heavily skilled in tactician and in super strategies. They learned the hard way to never repeat their same mistakes or their failings ever again. And this time they always come up with a better strategy and with a wiser strategy and a proper planning way to take down their enemies. And Warlord Sara reviews the Universal Heroes as a dangerous obstacle, and the intergalactic coalition of the Four Nation Hunters and of the United Heroes to never again to be taken lightly, as she learned the hard way as well. But her love for Warlord Dick is a powerful love that she and Warlord Dick exactly share a very powerful love together, and they rule the Shadow Empire faction together as well. As they were able to learn about the love of the original Lord of Magic with Ember and the goddess of power known as Ember, the Witch of Power, who fell in love with Laurel many years ago. They were gratefully inspired by that, and they decided to use their forbidden love to rule the Shadow Empire and also to take gratefully command of it as well in the process. Regardless of this, they are the deadliest power couple and one of the most deadliest factions under her sole control. Not meant to be underestimated. Well, guys, that's it for today's episode. I'll exactly see you tomorrow. Have a blessed day and a very much of a great day. I do truly appreciate your support in viewing and watching my episodes from TikTok, from shorts, and from long videos as well. Keep doing so. Like and subscribe. Have a great blissfully day, and I'll never actually forget you guys. Not completely, not gonna forget you guys. So I'm literally supporting you no matter what. May God bless you. Stay safe and stay happy, and keep doing what you're also doing, guys, and keep fulfilling your goals and your dreams, and have a blessed day, and may God bless you all and stay and protect you, and also protect you and help you pursue your goals and your dreams. Have a lovely day and have a lovely blessed week. See you actually tomorrow as well. So take care. Bye.